Hi, friends. Welcome to Lotus and the Light. My name's Jennifer. If you're watching, you get the pleasure of hearing a little story about my weekend and this little cold that I have and this whole emotional spiritual journey that that it has taken me on. And I suspect if you found this video that you might be journeying through something similar, or in some way this video is going to resonate for you. So, so take the journey with me. Um, so interesting, if you've watched any of my high vibe diet videos, the what I've been going through this weekend has really put me through the test of my belief systems. And in particular, my belief systems have really kind of been turned upside down over the last maybe 14, 16 months. And so I've been having these experiences that are really putting me to the test. Again, when I say putting me to the test, I don't really mean like pass, fail, you're bad, or you're good, but more like just allowing me to evaluate um, if whether or not I have fully integrated these beliefs or whether I'm falling back into old patterns. And we have a tendency to do that. Like even when our beliefs change and we now believe something new, we've been doing something a certain way for so long that it has become a part of even a part of our physical self. We have neuropathways in our brain that say, yeah, every time we experience this, this is what we believe about it. This is what we think about it. This is what how we respond to it. And it's like we need to kind of sometimes go in there and fill in that path, right? And say, okay, this path is blocked. Do not enter, right? Here's the new path. Here's the new trench we're digging. That's going to be the new path of least resistance. And anytime we take on a new belief system, we have to practice it over and over. Spirit will give us opportunities to practice it over and over. And when I say spirit, what I mean is your soul will continue to throw those opportunities at you to make sure that you're really exercising those new muscles and building up that new muscle memory. And that has been the truth for me this weekend, where I've even caught myself failing in my own high vibe diet that I've been talking about through these last few videos. And so what happened was a couple days ago, I think 2 days ago, I started feeling a little like I was just having to blow my nose, and it's like, oh, what's going on here, And I'm like, by the next day, by yesterday, I was like full on like had like a head cold thing emerging, and I'm like, what is going on? Like I started to fall back into old patterns of judging the situation and judging myself and saying, I so judging the situation. Here's what I'll say: anytime we are physically sick, it is or sick in any way, mentally sick, any kind of sickness, we are designed by the Creator to perfection. So when we are sick, it is a demonstration that we are out of alignment with our soul, with who we authentically are. So it is a lower vibrational state of mind, a lower vibrational state of being to that would even allow us to have a sickness. And so we tend to judge that and say, oh, okay, well, if I'm out of alignment, obviously that's bad, right? But the sickness isn't what's bad. Nothing's bad. We're just here to experience life, and we need some contrast to fully experience life. If we're gonna, experience this end of something, it's good to also experience this end of something, because then that brings us into a fuller understanding of whatever that experience is. And so being able to remove judgment is really important. And so I was judging this idea that because I was sick and therefore at some point had dipped down into like a lower vibrational frequency that allowed me to be a match for that. Just it I was judging myself, like, what did I do? How did this happen? Not realizing that also what could be happening is I could actually be increasing, my vibration might actually be increasing. And the vibration I was at before might have been a match for some belief systems that now, as my vibration is increasing, those belief systems aren't a match any longer. And this is, I believe, what's happening is Spirit's way of showing me, like, you've got to strip some of these things because you're moving here and it doesn't align with these things that you believed anymore. And so now it's time to release those. So again, it's Spirit's way of communicating to me that I'm believing something that's out of alignment with divine truth. So I did recognize that. I mean, my initial reaction was like, oh no, what's going on? And kind of a little judgy and whatever, but it only took me a few minutes to remember, no, that's not truth. That's not true for me anymore. Um, and remind myself of what I do believe. And so I did. I said, thank you. Thank you to this cold, because you're showing me something, you're teaching me something. And then I was able to kind of move on from there, but I still proceeded to do some things that were against even my own advice and my own videos. Again, falling back into those old patterns, those old neuropathways. Moved on from that neuropathway that says I've done something wrong and I've, made a mistake in some way, and this is my punishment for that, right? Um, but then I started meditating, and I started meditating and praying and just doing some different things. And within those practices, I was focused on trying to heal myself. I was trying to make this go away because I do believe here that in my mind, I do have come to the belief that we do have the power to heal ourselves, that um, we are consciousnesses of divine creation or of the divine. And we bear that same power. We bear the power of creation. We bear the power of healing. We bear the power, all the same powers that divine source offers, is we are also, if I can get those words out. And so just trying to align myself with that energy and bring that healing to myself. And so that's what I was doing a lot of yesterday and today. And then I realized today, oh my goodness, I'm not taking my own advice here. I'm trying to heal the outside, knowing that the outside is just a reflection of what's on the inside. And I need to stop focusing on trying to heal the sickness and start focusing on trying to heal the sickness, right? The one that's in here. And so there again, working through closing up another neuropathway that I no longer need. Stop trying to force these behaviors of enlightenment, thinking of like Jesus, he healed, right? Um, but the, Jesus didn't just believe that, he was that. That was integrated within him. It was who he was. And that's the journey that I'm still on, that we're all still on. And so rather than trying to force that outcome, it just was who he was, right? He didn't have to force anything. And so I have always been such a type A, go get 'em personality. It's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. Whenever we have to force anything, it's a sign that we're resisting the flow of divine spirit. So I had to remind myself, relax, surrender, and trust. And that's a big one for me because then what I had to do is say, okay, there's something internally going on. And in my prayers and in my meditation, I was just asking Spirit to reveal to me what I needed to know about it. But I wasn't sure what it was. That what was I hanging on to that was a misalignment? What was I believing that was a misalignment? I really wasn't sure what it was. So um, I just trusted, and this is great advice for anyone. You don't have to know. Like talk therapy is great when you know what's going on, and you can talk through the triggers and talk through what the trauma is that it stemmed from, and talk through that. It's fabulous. I am a big proponent of people going to therapy. I really am. I have nothing negative to say about it. I only would say it's a way. It's not the only way, and there is a way where we don't even have to know what the trauma is. In fact, we won't know a lot of the trauma because a lot of it's coming from ancestral genetic DNA passed down. You won't know what those traumas are, to even talk about them. So there is a path, there's a method of releasing trauma and the emotional energy of those traumas, without really knowing what it is and just asking that energy, telling that energy, it's time for you to go. Thank you. You have free will. So if you want energy to leave, it has to leave. It has to adhere. That's a universal law that we each have free will. And so we cannot infringe, no energy can infringe upon your will without your permission. So you can tell that energy, it's time to go. Thank you for your service. You obviously were protecting me. It was a belief system that was protecting me, in the wake of a trauma of some sort or in the wake of whatever, I don't know. And thank you for that, but you're no longer needed. I'm healing now. And so that's what I did. I said those things in my meditation, but then after the meditation, I started falling back into another old trench up in my neural pathways of over analyzing, over obsessing, getting in my head about what could it be? Is it this? Is it this? And like think. I am a highly trained, highly experienced over analyzer. I mean, that was my life for decades. Um, I can overanalyze with the best of them, let me tell you. And so it's been a real lesson for me this year to stop doing that. It is not healthy because when you're analyzing stuff with your human mind, with your thinking mind, your conscious mind, it is filtering everything through your experiences, your past, your traumas, logic, reason. Did I say traumas? Your traumas, your belief systems, all these things that are clogging up the truth of the matter and giving you a perspective that is usually out of alignment with spirit, okay? And out of alignment with divine truth. And that's really important to be in alignment with divine truth because that's when we are at our highest and best, is when we're aligned with divine truth. And so that overthinking it to try to figure things out, that's not the job of this mind. This mind has important responsibilities. And that is like when it is time, let's say okay, we've got this work project and we need to figure out the best way to organize these things and the best way to, solve these math problems or the best way to whatever. Like there are times when your thinking mind is the right tool, but figuring out emotional stuff is never the right time to bring in the thinking mind. So I was doing that. I was starting to overanalyze and getting into the thinking and getting into the thinking. And I had to remind myself, close that trench, do not enter, new trench, get into the heart space. But at this point, I didn't even need to get into the heart space. I had already done it in my meditation. I just needed to receive. I needed to trust, surrender, and receive. And that is going to be in whatever timing it needs to be. And I had to kind of let that go. So then as today progressed, actually, I did start getting some revelations about why I'm sick, what I'm a misalignment for. And it has to do with I'm still my path forward in the future and what I should be doing in the future. And I say should be. I don't think there's ever one path that's the right path, right? I think that we are here to learn some specific things. Each of us individually have our own things that we came here to learn and experience, but there's many ways we can achieve that. But following your highest joy, and it is what there could be many ways to do that, but that's letting you know that you're in alignment with your soul when you're following your highest joy. And if I'm truly following my highest joy, there is a different path for me in life than what I'm doing now. And I don't exactly know what it looks like. And that's where that trust thing comes in. I'm trusting spirit. Spirit's showing me little tidbits. Like this YouTube channel is a little tidbit, a little peek under the blanket of what that should be, but I don't fully know what it is. And I don't know how to take I get caught up in what do I need to be doing? What do I need to be doing? Because I've always been a human doing instead of a human being, right? And so we're supposed to be humans being. Instead, what we are humans becoming is what because we're trying to get there back to our authentic selves. So we are humans becoming, but a lot of us get caught up in doing. And that's what my life has been. It's like if I want something, I fall into the old pattern in my brain of, and my belief system supported it. That's why we do the things we do, is because our belief system says this is what we have to do. And my belief system told me that if I wanted something, I had to make it happen. I had to go do it myself. And so now I'm not used to, and I've been learning this past year how to not do anything until I feel divinely inspired. And then I know it's the right path. And how do I really know that it's divine inspiration? Because it excites me, because it brings me joy, because I'm like, yes, that's what I need to do next. And I can't wait to go do it. That feels different than maybe I should try this. Maybe I should email these people. Maybe I should, or, it could be an email to somebody, but it'll be like, I need to email this person. It won't be like, maybe I should, I don't know what else to do. I'm going to try this and I'm going to email these 80 people and one of them might latch on. That is surviving. That is a survival mode tactic. That is striving as opposed to receiving divine inspiration and doing cartwheels towards that next step. And there's an element of trust in that because I can tell you that the journey I've been on for the last year and a half has come one step at a time. It has not been an illuminated path, even to these videos. It has not been like, oh, here's what you're trying to get to, because there is no end destination. That's why we think that there's an end destination, but it's not about a destination. It is about the journey. It's about experiencing and those experiences causing us to expand and grow. Um, and that's what we need to keep our focus on. Keep your focus on the now. And I was losing sight of the now. And that's why I think I got sick, because I was allowing myself to get caught up in the fact that what I'm doing today isn't bringing me my highest joy. And I know there's something more for me, and I keep getting caught up in what do I need to be doing to make it happen? What do I need to be doing to make it happen? And this sickness was Spirit's way of reeling me back in and saying, stop trying to do something and just receive. We will give you the divine guidance. We will drop the breadcrumbs. Tune in, tune out. You keep tuning back into your old channel. Tune out of that and tune in to Spirit. And that has been my journey over the past 2 days, is remembering that and remembering that. And when I do tune back in, not only will this cold heal, I mean, this cold could heal up on its own. I'm not taking any medicine, but we know it's going to naturally run its course, right? But when I do heal from this, if I haven't healed from whatever's going on in here, I'm going to get sick again with either the same thing or something different, because I will be a vibrational match for it, because there's something out of alignment. So I had to remind myself, there's nothing wrong with taking medicine to deal with this. If you're feeling bad, by all means, take medicine. But it's not about that. And it wasn't about me trying to heal this either. It was about me trying to heal whatever Spirit was trying to show me. So I had to remind myself to tune into what was really going on the inside, because the outside is just a mirror. Oh my gosh, cards fell out. Okay. So I grabbed Sacred Sea Oracle. And oh wow, oh my gosh. I got two cards and I've never read either one of them, but just the descriptions are perfect. Okay. So first I got Shark Spirit and it says clearer perspective. That's exactly what my journey has been this weekend. That's what we perceive negative experiences to be, is just spirit reminding us that you're out of alignment. So when you do feel that negative feeling, step one, figure out how to get out of that negative feeling because you'll get into this head and start analyzing it from that negative place and nothing good will come of that. Nothing. So first, I don't care if you got to take a nap, if you have to have a glass of wine, if you have to go out and have some fun, do whatever you need to do to get out of that mindset. And then once you're out of that mindset, I would say do some meditation. That's what I did actually, is I went right in and started meditating and going into my heart space. But that might be something new for some of you. Start that. Even if you're doing it for 2 minutes, figure out how to focus on. It's very interesting when I'm meditating. I can tell when I'm coming back into my thinking mind, into my consciousness, into my conscious mind, because I'll start hearing thoughts that I recognize that are busy thoughts of like, okay, you've been doing this long enough, you've got other things to do, or okay, somebody's probably waiting for you for some, and I'll start hearing the, oh, now I got to go to the bathroom or whatever it is. And it's like, now I know now I'm coming out of the place where God is. And I'm starting to hear the loud noises around me and not the still small voice. So anyway, it's a beautiful thing when you discover that. And I highly recommend it. So Shark Spirit's about gaining that clearer perspective. And then and that's a 33. So that's a master number. Threes are about learning life lessons. And that's what this is. And I won't be surprised if I get this lesson again framed differently, because that's what happens is that's how spirit is showing us whether or not we have fully integrated that belief within us. Once it's fully integrated within us, it just becomes who we are, like breathing. We don't have to think about breathing. We just breathe, right? We don't have to think about digesting our food. We just digest. And when we take on new belief systems and we get put through these rigorous tests that we want to perceive as negative, it's actually a positive thing because it's spirit saying this is another chance for you to just remember what you believe now. We're going to give you more and more chances to remember what you believe until it's seamless, until it's just who you are. And this is what you do now when these things happen. And when that happens, the, I'll say the karmic cycle of it, the karmic lesson is done. Move on. There's no need to keep repeating that anymore. But you might feel it a few times, and it actually might get harder. And it might be tougher circumstances and feel harder, but as you practice it, it actually gets easier, even when the circumstances are perceived as tougher, because you just know. You're like, oh, I see what's going on here. So anyway, that's that clearer perspective. I really love this card. And then 29. So 9, 10, 11. So this breaks down to an 11. And this is a 33. These are both master numbers. So 33 is about those big life lessons. And 11 is your guide team, your spirit guide team, your angels letting you know you're on the right path. And I say the word right. You're on the path towards alignment. It's not that there's one singular right path, but you're on a path that is taking you towards alignment. And I love that. And the sea goddess of transmutation is all about doing exactly what I've been doing the last couple days, which is recognizing that negative energy that's no longer serving you and transmuting that into something that does serve you. And when you start to learn how to do that, um, the world becomes your oyster because now you're no longer dependent on anyone else for your peace. You're no longer dependent on anyone else for your joy. You're no longer dependent on all these external circumstances that are out of your control. You know how to transmute the energy around you into your own joy and your own peace. And that's the universal law. We actually can't, all these things that we're trying to change outside of us are the uncontrollables. They're the things that we can't control by design because universal law says we all have free will. So I cannot control anybody else, but I can control my own energy and how I use my energy. And that's the sea goddess of transmutation. Celebrate change, it says. Oh my gosh, I don't know which one of these to read. Maybe we'll read a little bit of both. So Shark Spirit came out first. So let's just see what that says. These are perfect. I haven't pulled from this oracle in a while either. So and I've never had either of these cards. Um, the affirmation with Shark Spirit says, I'm open to seeing my fears in a new light, as I may have perceived my reality in a way that hasn't been serving me. I'm letting that go. I mean, come on. Do you not think that God is involved in this message? How could this is the card I pull? It's just insane. It gives me the chills when I think about it. Anyway, sorry. I digress. I may have perceived my reality in a way that hasn't been serving me. I'm letting that go so I can experience a new opportunity filled with love, joy, friendship, and peace. Who knows what is possible when I alter my perspective? That's what we're doing here. Um, I don't know. I don't know because I got two cards here. I don't think I want to read them both. But I'll read this sacred meanings. Face fears. Fear may be self-created. Deeper experiential education. Change your perspective. Alter your beliefs. Become more introspective. Awaken to the creativity of infinite possibilities. Those were the sacred meanings of this card. So I love that. Um, and I might, oh, you know what? I might read this sacred sea ritual. Take a moment to meditate on the energy of the shark, honoring all of your preconceived ideas, experiences, and feelings about them. Um, It's actually, I should go back and say it's the shark spirit. It says shark spirit is the epic being of strength, power, and force that has a majestic message for you. What you think you may be seeing may not actually be real, is what it's talking about. So it's all about this change in perspective. So it says take a moment to meditate on the energy of the shark, honoring all your preconceived ideas, experiences, and feelings about them. Question whether they're truths or myths or manifestations of fear, misused power, and horror. Breathe deeply and see within yourself. Are you willing to change the fabric of your reality by changing the way you think and perceive it? Are you willing to release these notions to allow for a newer perspective and experience? Do you want to be freed from fear and make room for joy and happiness? Okay. And then 29 is the sea goddess of transmutation. And that's how we transmutation. That's how we're getting to the clearer perspective. 29, sorry, it's taking me a second to find it. The affirmation here says, I am an active participant in the transmutation of all I am ready to change in my life. I know where I'm going and I know what I need to do to get there and enjoy my experience on earth. I welcome and celebrate the ever-changing aspects of my life. The sea goddess of transmutation is calling on you to allow transformation to take place. You must create a sacred space for yourself so this necessary regeneration process can be completed. A caterpillar cannot transform into the butterfly it is meant to be without retreating from life and going into its cocoon. You need to shut out distractions and unplug from your old life to begin the alchemical process required for your next phase. You pulled this card to show how you can change your reality. So this is what I'm talking about. You've got some deeply ingrained neuropathways, belief systems, and ways of doing things that need to be transmuted if you want to have clearer perspective. Because until you release and shed those things, you will have blocks in your energy, your chakra energy systems, and it's these upper systems that connect you to spirit. That if there's blockage, you're going to miss the spiritual messages. And the way to release those blockages, to free up those blockages, is by clearing those old emotional traumas, by releasing belief systems that are no longer serving you. Like that's the path to the holistic healing here. Okay, I'm going to leave it right there. I don't think I need to say anything more. I love this message. It was right for me. It's right in line with what I was talking about I've still got some things to shed so that I can follow my path of joy. There's still some beliefs and things that I'm hanging on to that I'm letting spirit, again, my nature is to want to go figure out what it is, but I'm just receiving. I'm letting spirit show it to me, and they will show it to me all around in my world. And I know that, and they'll do it for you as well. So I hope take this message and love it and grow with it and peace out. I can't wait to do this again.